This episode is brought to you by Blinkist. What's up, Wisecrack? Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Brilliant, the show where we break down the TV shows, movies, and video games that we're really excited about. This time we are going to be talking about the final season of Bojack Horseman. The season gives us answers to big questions like, will Birthday Dad be a hit? Will Diane ever become the writer she wants to be? And will Bojack just be okay? I'm Michael, and joining me today is animator and comedian Sean Godsey.
Hello, everyone.
Now, before we get into it, let it be said, we are going to spoil the entire last season of Bojack Horseman and the series as a whole. So if you have not seen the show yet, maybe hit pause, go binge it, and come back. I promise it'll make a lot more sense. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, we can get started. We know where we got to start. You're the guest of honor, so you can get it going. We got to talk about what's good. So, Sean, what do you think is good about the final season of Bojack Horseman?
I would say the Diane character.
Yeah.
Usually, Diane is not one of my favorite main characters, but this season, I really thought she was great. I thought she was very relatable. I thought, I don't know, her story seemed very real.
Yeah.
That she's this writer who can't write, but she finds happiness in writing this kid's book.
Yeah.
Which is like completely against her character.
Yeah, I think like Diane's always been one of my favorite characters, and I think they really honored that character in the final season. I think her arc was very interesting and really one of the best redemptive arcs. And I think in a lot of ways,
that's true.
This is a character that saw herself being some type of like an edgy LA writer, and then to fall in love, move to Chicago, then Houston, end up writing the type of fiction she never thought she would write. She finds a happiness there. And I think, and maybe this is something we can get into in the Brilliant section as well, there's something really powerful about that idea that sometimes the person who we think we want to be might not be where we're going to find happiness.
Yeah, it felt very real. Oh, also a smaller thing. I love that she gained weight, but no one made jokes about it or like mentioned it, or like that felt like very real to life. Like people change all the time. I was very kind of impressed by that like very small detail.
Yeah, and even just the way they deal with her mental health in general, I thought was really careful. I think, and by careful, I just mean they weren't reckless. They didn't turn it into a joke.
Yes.
And they also didn't make it this thing where like her life was over or she couldn't have relationships. She still had a loving relationship. She still got work done. She just had to figure herself out. And of course, one of the themes I think of this final season is all of our main characters figuring something out, making some big turn or big leap in their lives, for better or worse, such that when the curtain falls, every character really has made some sort of progress. And we can really see that in this season.
And it's nice that it's not like these big happy endings where everyone's like cheering, and everyone's ending is also a little sad or morose, but it feels real. It doesn't feel, it doesn't feel cartoony.
It doesn't feel cartoony. And I think, and this is to jump ahead to one of the final moments of the final episode, it's Bojack and Diane having a conversation. Bojack says something to the effect of,
life's a bitch and then you die, right?
Sometimes. Sometimes life's a bitch and then you keep living.
And to me, that's one of the main themes of the show, that sometimes stuff sucks really bad and life's really hard, and it might be career stuff or relationship stuff or mental health, but you keep going step by step. Not to make this too like self-helpy, but I thought that was a really good take.
The whole show is pretty self-helpy. I mean, the whole show is about like depression and addiction.
Well, it's a show that if these were humans, like live action and not cartoons, it wouldn't be a comedy. It would be like a really dark show.
I agree.
I mean, if we imagine some of the stuff that Bojack goes through, and it's just like Leonardo DiCaprio getting faced and driving and breaking into a house and almost drowning in a pool,
which
it would be
maybe
dark.
Happened, you know.
I've heard stories, and I don't want to get into it because of libel law.
I will get into it.
Okay, so one of the things I think stood out to me as one of the big questions and thematics of this season, and I thought this was really good, is the question of, is redemption possible? Is it possible for someone who, by all accounts, did some really shitty things and hurt a lot of people? Is it possible for that person to find redemption? And sort of along with that, what are the limits of justice? Because I think, for lack of a better term, we could say this is the season where we have Bojack's like Me Too story.
That's true.
Yeah, he gets publicly called out for both his sort of participation in the death of Sarah Lynn and also him taking advantage of various women in his life. He gets called out on national TV.
Yeah.
He has that sort of Gone with the Wind talking reporter.
If we pivot our perspective so we prove a larger pattern, we can paint a clearer portrait of a problematic person for a page 1 profile that'll pave our path to a Pulitzer.
It's very stupid and funny to like have these like reporters from like what, the 20s or something?
Yeah.
Constantly tracking this like very serious. It's funny to like to have these 20s reporters doing like a Me Too story is like a weird juxtaposition that like, I don't know, I guess added levity to this like horrible thing.
For sure, and it was an absurd way, and I think you put that perfectly to add levity. And I think the show did something really interesting, because we have the one episode where Bojack does a TV interview, sort of confesses, and everyone loves him for it. He goes to the coffee shop the next day and they say, this is on me because my manager said he watched that and went straight to AA. And we do get this narrative in that episode where, great, you confess for the shitty stuff that you did. Everyone loves you for it. You can move on. Bojack's on cloud 9. He's so excited that he says, let's do another interview. And in that one, some more things come to light, especially this idea that he left Sarah Lynn dying and waited to call the paramedics and call the police.
I just keep thinking about those 17 minutes. You waiting in the parking lot after she died. But she wasn't actually dead yet. She died in the hospital.
Right, but at the time, I
You ever wonder what would have happened if you didn't take those 17 minutes?
And there we really get an actual reckoning with the shit he did. There he finally gets ostracized by the Hollywood community. And I think that's something that is more honest and accurate than guy gets to be shitty for his whole career, gives one honest interview, and now it's like free Starbucks for the rest of your life.
I think in general, it was cool to see like a cartoon show where in general, I feel like in a lot of animated sitcoms, it's like people doing horrible stuff, but it's like funny, or Peter Griffin will kill someone in a gag, but then it's like funny. Listen, or not. But
no, it's funny when cartoons kill people.
Yeah. I don't know if it was trying to be a commentary on cartoons, but it did kind of feel like, because cartoons will go very far and be very extreme, especially in like adult animated comedy cartoons. And so it was cool to see a cartoon that was like, whoa, like you did all this like up stuff. Like you're a terrible person.
Well, and I think what was important as well is it avoided this easy dichotomy between either people are good and people are bad. Almost no one in the show is totally good or totally evil.
I wanted to officially welcome you to the MBN Thursday Night family.
Thank you.
And to ask if it wouldn't be too much trouble for you to shout out birthday dad during your interview.
Why would
But only if the interview was going well. If the interview is going poorly, please do not bring up birthday dad.
And I think especially the way they handled addiction was very real. Because we see in Bojack's life, he's a part of a cycle of addiction. He was raised by shitty parents who were alcoholics themselves. He, against his best efforts, and we see some flashbacks to the years where he started drinking in this final season, which I think is instructive. Against his best efforts, he keeps getting pulled into that. So I think they handle it in a great way because the point isn't, oh, he's an alcoholic, so it's fine. Not his fault.
Yeah.
But the point also isn't that he's completely responsible in a way where his addictions don't play into it. It deals with the messiness of these things and avoids giving any simple conclusion.
It's cool that he is like on this cycle, which is like very real, and it's not like, oh, getting sober is the end all be all for an addict.
Well, you know, this is the season 2 where I really, something clicked with me in terms of why these characters need to be animals, because I think it really got at the idea that as humans, we're animals.
Yeah.
We forget that. And I think that in the show, you know, why does Bojack keep going back to this stuff? Animal instinct. The inability to, even though he knows the right thing to do, sometimes he can't do it. The same thing with a character like Diane. She kind of knows what she needs to do, but she sometimes just can't do it because we're caught in this weird space as humans where we're rational, we're smart, we can think all these great things, but we're still an animal. We still have those base instincts. And I think the show gets at that tension so well.
Even if you know your problem, you're still gonna do it, probably.
It's fun to do bad things.
And it's good.
It's good. Do bad things. So to shift a little bit, I think there was a lot that had to do with the convergence of the media and capitalism. So we see like the birthday dad thing, IP that came from a card. Getting this idea that so much stuff that gets made isn't anything. It's just some shitty idea that we turn into something because we think it's going to make money. We have the White Whale Company that Diane's investigating.
Oh, I loved that, yeah.
Yeah, that I think is like a stand-in for Amazon and Jeff Bezos, and this idea that these massive companies own these little things that we think are sort of like pure and interesting, and the way in which we see people who changed their art or what they do because of the interest of this company. And there's a question in one of the white whale meetings, Diane basically asks, like, what's the difference between capitalism and evil?
White whale's not evil. They're just capitalists.
What's the difference?
And they get at this moral question of how this economic structure is shaping so many things in their world, and these are real things. It's like, come to Hollywood, kid, you'll see it.
He bought a telephone company, a sports team, and when he didn't like the way the newspapers were talking about him, he bought his own newspaper.
There's moments where it portrays Hollywood as good or like a fun place to be, but mostly it's pretty cynical about Hollywood, which is very fun. And again, I do think it's fun that Diane's kind of happy ending is like leaving that and like leaving Hollywood and like living in Houston.
I do want us to talk at length about the penultimate episode, but I think we should save that for the brilliant part.
Okay,
Before we finish our good section, anything else that you wanted to hit that you noted while watching it, things you were excited about, things that really stood out to you?
Well, listen, I'm an animator. I draw.
Yes.
Throughout the series, and I think it's only gotten better, so the last seasons especially, the character design is great. It's such a colorful world. I love the style of Bojack Horseman, and this is a very specific note, but
do it.
Their clothes. They have like real clothes that people would wear that you could like probably order from a catalog. In a lot of cartoons, it's kind of like you just like draw a line across someone's neck and like that's their t-shirt. Like Rick and Morty kind of does that, but like, or a lot of cartoons do that, but everyone in Bojack wears like real clothes and has like jackets and like buttons and like, I don't know. I've never seen a cartoon pay so much attention to clothes.
This is why we needed an animator for this. We wouldn't have gotten that. This is
like know about those clothes.
Inside the animator studio. I love it.
Before we continue, I want to give a quick shout out to Blinkist. Blinkist is an app that helps you learn all about the world by taking the top nonfiction titles and turning them into blinks, which are insights from the book. You can read them on your phone or listen to them like a podcast. I really love podcasts where I learn a lot, but sometimes it's hard to find one that's equally informative and fun. With Blinkist, I get to learn from world-renowned authors about subjects I've never read up on. It's perfect when you're on the go, at the gym, driving, or just taking a walk around the neighborhood. Recently, I listened to Tools and Weapons by Brad Smith, the president of Microsoft. The book is about how technology shapes our lives and the economy. It talks about how it empowers us, but also could lead to trouble down the line. Blinkist offers over 3,000 titles, so even if you're not interested in AI taking over, you can catch up on other stuff like philosophy, nature, history, religion, and so much more. You can start a free trial today, and if you're one of the first 100 Wisecrack fans to use the link in the description, you can get 25% off your premium subscription. Go to Blinkist.com/Wisecrack or click the link in the description. Download Blinkist today and start learning. Now, back to the show.
Okay, now that we've talked about all the things that we thought were good about the final season of Bojack, which was a lot, we have to talk about what didn't work as well. So, what was something that you would say was bad about the final season of Bojack Horseman?
Todd's mom.
You were so quick with that.
Yeah, Todd's mom, that was a terrible storyline. I don't understand. That's not a real problem that like Todd helped his mom, so now she won't come downstairs for dinner.
She didn't come to dinner because she's ashamed.
She can't say hello? The woman has my kidney.
And that's why she's ashamed. A mother shouldn't owe her child her life.
Anytime they made Todd dramatic, I didn't like it. Like, he's a silly character. I understand Bojack is like very dramatic and like it really gets into real issues, but like, I don't know, let Todd be funny or like let him be silly. I don't know. I hated that.
Yeah, especially because there was some good stuff happening for Todd in this season. He finally had his first really nice asexual relationship.
Yeah, I liked him in the relationship. I liked that.
Yeah, I just kept wondering with the mom stuff, like, what am I missing? What is this trying to get at in terms of emotional stakes? I know a part of it was trying to set this thing up where like Todd's gonna get his own place. Todd's capable of being a grown man. Although I did like Todd's adventures with his stepdad. So that was
I liked
fun.
his stepdad, especially in the first half of the last season. I thought his stepdad was very fun.
Especially when he drugged him and took him to Chicago. I thought that was a really fun movie.
That was great.
One thing I didn't like, and to be clear, didn't hate it. It was fine. The final episode dragged a bit for me.
Yes.
I think that the penultimate episode, which we'll get into, was phenomenal. And I don't envy the writers for having to figure out a way to follow that.
Yeah, it's hard to end a
But
thing.
the final episode was a bit meandering. We had some nice final conversations with people.
I think sometimes when they really dive into some of the Diane Bojack conversations, they can like, I don't know, it seems like they really get wrapped up in like they're good writers or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's weird to say, but it feels like they get like far up their own ass and like, look how long we can make these people talk. I also felt like the last episode was just a little lacking in comedy, which is fine. Bojack does get very dramatic, but like, he can be funny too.
Bojack, don't make me ask you to leave.
You don't have to. Oh, come on, dude. Let us in. This plant's heavy as tits.
Maybe this is a hot take.
Yeah.
Why are there humans? Get rid of the humans. Just give me animals. I like Todd. I like Diane. Make them animals.
Yeah.
The animals are fun to look at. The humans are not that fun to look at. They just seem very like standard like 2D sitcom.
Yeah.
But the designs of the animals are like so fun and so colorful.
Also the sex stuff, right? Like I'm not weirded out by a cat and a dog having sex.
Yeah, I like that.
Or a horse and a llama.
Yeah.
But when it's like a human and a cat having sex, it makes me a little bit uncomfortable.
It challenges me. And I still, at the end of the day, I still like it, but...
Yeah, but then you wonder, like, why do you like it?
Yeah, am I bad?
What does that say about you?
Is it bestiality?
Is it? I mean, objectively, this is a show.
Yeah.
And this isn't controversial, right? The writers all know this.
Yeah, they like
it It's a show that promotes bestiality.
Yeah.
I mean, from the outset. That's fine.
Yeah.
We're cool with it.
We are fine with that.
So we'll move away from this, but you know, we all agree, not controversial. Show promotes bestiality. We're fine with that. But we're in the bad sections. We got to shift away from that.
But bad. Get rid of the humans. They look boring. Their clothes look good. Their bodies look boring.
I would say, I agree with you. Let's just keep Todd. No humans, but Todd, and don't explain why Todd's still
That would be
human.
more fun if there's like one human. Lisa Hannawalt is like
Yeah.
the main designer. She's great. Most of her art is animal based.
Yeah.
Let them do the animals. Get the humans look boring. Get them out of there or kill them.
Yeah, that would be good. Just kill all the humans. If the animals rose up, kind of like in Us, where the people from, sorry to spoil Us for you, but you've had time.
Sorry.
When the underground people come up and they want to kill all the above ground people.
Yeah.
That could, maybe they'll make one more episode and it's like a purge of all the humans.
Yeah.
And where Bojack gets revenge. But once again, not big issues. Bestiality,
big
fine.
issues.
All humans should die. Blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah. And
blah,
humans
blah.
don't look good. Real humans,
No.
humans the show.
When's
the last time you saw a human and you thought, like, that's a good-looking human?
Never. I've only looked at animals and thought they looked good.
I saw a Siberian husky earlier today.
Yeah?
More attractive than any human I've ever seen.
I'm in a committed relationship with a human woman, and sometimes I look at our cat.
Oh my God. I'm also in a committed relationship with a human woman.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'm just on petfinder.com and I feel like I'm cheating. I feel like I'm on a dating app because I see like an Australian shepherd that's 100 miles away that needs a loving home. And I'm just like, I love you. I need you. I want to be with you. Your eyes are pretty. Come home to me.
Yeah.
Anything else you think is bad?
That's it.
Awesome.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. It's a pretty good show, so I don't have a lot of bad stuff to say. Now we've done the good. We've done the bad. We get to the fun part now. We get to do our lightning round questions. Are you up for it?
I am up for it.
Fantastic. In case you don't know, but you know, this is the part of the show where we get to ask a bunch of questions to each other. They can be about the show. They can be about the show as it relates to our emotional life, about our views on geopolitical issues, whatever we want. Okay? So I'm going to go first. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Cool. So, would you rather be stuck in a room for 2 days and forced to watch Horsing Around or Birthday Dad?
Oh, I think Birthday Dad. I really want to see Birthday Dad. I'm so interested to see a full episode of Birthday Dad. I feel like you know what Horsing Around is. It's like Full House. I don't know what Birthday Dad is.
I have no idea what Birthday Dad is.
I love to watch Birthday Dad.
And then especially when they show the war episode, how does Birthday Dad go to war? Like, what war does Birthday Dad start, you know? Do you think Saddam Hussein was a Birthday Dad?
He was the Birthday Dad?
Well, he started wars and he was also a dad. Think about it. Which non-human type of person did you identify with most in the show? So you're still a human. You're in this world. Who are you hanging out with that's non-human?
I don't know if I identify with him, but I like Mr. Peanut Butter. He's very fun. He's rich. He's loose with that money.
Yeah.
You know, I bet I could, you know, become
a dog adjacent.
Yeah.
Do you think Mr. Peanut Butter's name is a reference to the urban myths about people putting peanut butter on their buttholes and having dogs lick it off?
It's about butt. I've heard about about the front.
Front. I think butt, front.
Anything below the waist.
That's.
I hope so. I think that's very funny if it is that his name is a reference to bestiality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because once again, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Do you think that Judah's band was any good? Or would be good? We didn't get to hear them all together. We heard him play a solo song.
Yeah.
Band did an instrumental set. Do you think they were any good?
I do think they were funny. Is that okay to say?
A band can be funny.
I don't think they were good. I think it's funny that Judah talks his lyrics. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He's not really a singer. He's like a talker.
My aim is to be accurate and clear.
Can you tell how old anyone is on this show?
No, I like that you see Bojack's gray hair, so it seems like maybe he's in his like 50s.
Yeah, but up until that point, I can't really tell the difference. And like when we learned that Diane is maybe like 40, I was like, I just thought she's been like.
Is?
I think that's implied that she's near there, and I'm like, oh, you just seem like a 22-year-old this whole time to me.
I agree, and especially the animals, it is hard to tell their age unless they're like specifically like an old character.
Yeah. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna do 2, but they're quick ones.
Okay.
Best celebrity cameo. You know, the voice of someone that pops up. We had a lot of them.
I thought it was very funny that Zach Braff was like a butler in the second to last episode.
Yes. Zach Braff being Zach Braff.
Yeah,
great.
That was great.
I'm a big Zach Braff fan.
I think he's funny.
Best LA reference. The show has a lot of inside baseball references to LA and Hollywood culture. Anything that tickled your
LA
fancy.
reference.
Yeah. And if not, it's fine. I'm coming at you with this.
Yeah.
No prep.
Best LA reference. I'm just going to say I like Holly Woo.
Mm-hmm.
And I like in the last episode, spoiler alert, it was Holly Woob.
Yeah.
I thought that was very funny.
I liked it a lot.
I like Holly Woob.
I like Holly. Should we start calling it that?
Yeah, we should.
Okay, so we're broadcasting live from Hollywood, California.
Sounds like Holly.
Don't say it.
Boob. What animal would you be in the Bojack universe?
Oh, probably one of the aquatic ones. I've always identified more with like dolphins and sea porpoises and ocean mammals. So one of those. Maybe I think isn't there the Keith Olbermann voiced character who's like a whale news anchor?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like a huge head.
Yeah. So I'd want to be whale or dolphin, and I want to work in a media adjacent industry.
Wow.
And I feel like I'd get along with that crew. So
very cool.
But I would still hang with you and the dogs on the weekends.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be a dog. I would just hang out with them.
No, but you and the dog. I'm not saying you're a dog. I would be a dolphin. You would be dog adjacent.
My name is Sean Godsey. Godsey backwards is yes dog.
Holy shit.
So.
Keep going. This is becoming
Would
a
you
lot.
rather live in Hollywood or Hollywoo or Hollywoob?
I mean, I guess I gotta say Hollywoob now.
Yeah.
Because here's why. Hollywoob happens at the very end.
Yes.
So we know that all these people are in a better place. I think because all these characters are so influential in Hollywoob, it'll be a better vibe.
Yeah.
Hollywood itself, I could take or leave.
Yeah.
So I'd say I want to be a resident of Hollywoob.
Good. And then the extra part of that is whatever one you choose, the other one burns.
To the ground?
Yeah.
With all the people in it?
Yeah.
Am I responsible for that burning?
Yeah.
So I'm responsible for a mass arson that destroys a whole
In this
city.
question,
Whole city.
it's just a question, but yeah.
Okay, you implicated me in that, and I feel really bad now.
But you already chose it, so that is the reality.
Okay, I guess do another one.
What would your letter to Bojack say? Hollyhock wrote a letter to Bojack that we didn't get to see.
Yeah.
What would your letter to Bojack
I would say, and in this, it's just from me or me in that world having been hurt by him.
You exist in Hollywoo.
Uh-huh.
You know what happened.
Yes. Okay, I would say, Dear Mr. Horseman, I grew up watching Horsin' Around and also liked your underground comedy. I'm not just in it for the big time stuff.
Yeah.
You've been an inspiration to me, but the recent things that I've learned about you really upset me. Now, I know you come from a long line of addiction and that your parents weren't that great to you, but I wish you would take responsibility for yourself and your actions to move forward. I don't think you're beyond forgiveness, but I think before forgiveness happens, contrition needs to happen. I need to see you confess, and I need to see you make the effort. In the meantime,
It's a long letter.
I would love to have you on my podcast, and if you could follow me on Twitter, that would be great. Retweet one joke a week. I would love that. Trying to blow up in the industry. From your friend, Michael Dolphin Burns.
Good. That was good.
Yeah.
I would just say tisk tisk.
Tisk tisk is all you would say to him? Okay, you got any more for me, or are you good?
Let me unlock my phone with my face, which is bad technology. What play would you direct in prison?
Oh, that's really good. Like, what's a good prison play? So part of me thinks you want to go gritty, but then part of me thinks you want to go something not gritty
Because
to kind of
it's
like
already
break through
gritty
that.
in prison. It's already a bummer to be in
Yeah,
prison.
I'll tell you, I won't be Hamilton. I'll tell you that much. I hate Hamilton. I think it's bad.
Right? I haven't seen it. And
I haven't seen it.
I
just
think
know
it's probably
bad.
good.
I think it's objectively bad, and I think that I don't want to see a founding father rap.
Oh.
And in no situation I want to see that.
I would like to see anyone rap.
Oh, I don't want to. Most people I don't want to see rap. I'd say 99.9% of people I
true.
don't want to see them rap. Okay, I want to say, I'm just going to say this was one of my favorite plays. The Sam Shepard play True West.
Oh.
And I would want to adapt the setting a little bit Maybe we're doing it like in prison, but I think it deals with this concept in the play of like some people who we think of as like good and upstanding, all they are is a few steps away from losing their shit and becoming violent. Some other people that we perceive as like shifty criminals might just have gone through some stuff and are trying to make it right. So I think in that sense, by doing the play, we can maybe help get at some stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah, so if anyone in the prison system needs a director
Yeah.
for the theater program,
They probably do.
I'd give it a go.
Yeah.
That'd be fun, actually. I think that'd be really cool. I think
That'd be
everyone
cool.
needs art. We all need art. Now it's time for us to get into the brilliant. So this is where we talk about the big ideas that really caught us in this season. So what was something that you thought was worthy of being called brilliant in the final season of Bojack Horseman?
So what I really loved was the episode where Diane was trying to write her book. I loved seeing her inner thought process with that.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. That's another, I think, brilliant thing that Bojack does in general is like they'll use alternate animation styles within the show.
And is this where she's sort of having a depressive episode, trying to work, and the animation's like showing us that?
Yeah, it's like sketchy and like it has like a plain background, and I loved that. I loved that the message of it was that your damage doesn't have to like lead up to anything. It can just be like damage.
Because there's that question, right? Like, does all art have to come from a place of damage? Do you have to be someone who's been through trauma to create good art? And I think it gets at that in a really interesting way.
And I like that Diane is she's so plagued throughout the whole series, and that she ends up writing like a fun kid's book, but like that kind of brings her happiness. I love that.
I think it gets at the simplicity of happiness, right? Often I think happiness can be thought of as having to be this like big emotional moment, or winning the big race, or getting married to Brad Pitt, or whatever it might be.
Or writing her like really deep novel about how everything's so terrible.
Yeah, and I think this shows that like it's okay to maybe find happiness in something that seems a little more practical, a little more everyday. You can move to Chicago with your boyfriend and eat Chicago-style foods. They really got into the Chicago jokes in this season.
I thought that was fun. It's fun that he's a bull.
Yeah. Because the Chicago Bulls are a sports team in Chicago.
That's right. I thought it was a great look at the creative process, and like she kept writing stuff and it being crap, or like the characters in her head were asking her like, is this anything? Which it just felt very real to like, if you're writing or creating anything, it felt like, oh yeah, that's kind of what you go through. You're constantly like, I don't know, maybe.
That's great. Yeah, and I think definitely the coalescence of seeing someone deal with some mental health issues and also the creative process. And I think for many people, those two things can go hand in hand. And I imagine a lot of creative people can watch that and find some solace.
I love the line that Guy is like,
I need to go to a dark place, and I can't get there. When I'm with you, when we're out, I feel good. I feel happy. But the minute I sit down to write...
Hey, you were having trouble writing this book when you were depressed, and you're having trouble now that you're not depressed.
I like that the story wasn't like, she took medication and it blocked her creativity, and that she even thought that, and then she was wrong. I think that's like great. I think that's a great message. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that was an episode you found brilliant. I really found the penultimate episode where Bojack is, can we say dying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was incredible.
That was great.
I mean, I thought it was an interesting meditation on the meaning of death. And I think we had two shows, had their final seasons around the same time, Bojack Horseman and The Good Place, both ended on this question of what does death mean? I want to say I liked Bojack Horseman's read on it better. Now in this episode, we have his sort of neurons slowly firing off as he drowns to death. We see all of these important people from his life who have also died, and died in many cases because of not him directly, but situations
like he's
he put
involved,
those people in.
yeah.
And there's this door. They're doing this like talent show. Zach Braff is there in roller skates. And everyone performs and they go through the door. And Bojack keeps asking, what's on the other side? What's on the other side? And finally Herb says to him,
Oh, Bojack, no. There is no other side.
And it gets to that idea that, I don't know, I mean, the show is saying that there is no heaven.
Yeah.
The show's making that bold of a claim. There is no heaven, there is no hell. When you die, you die.
I thought that was great just to like, kind of like pick a side.
Well, and it reminds me, can I get a little bit nerdy for a sec?
Please.
Thank you. It reminds me of something that Nietzsche talks about. That one of his problems with religion is that if people get so obsessed with like heaven and what happens after they die, they don't give a shit about their life now. They don't care about their relationships, their passions, all this sort of stuff, and it bums them out. That's sort of when Nietzsche's critique of religion isn't some like mean, angry 17-year-old thing. It's a critique of people that don't care about and value their own lives. And I think what we get from this particular interpretation of death is Bojack can't find redemption in death. he can't make it all right by dying and going to heaven where everything's okay. If he wants to find redemption, he has to do it himself, and he has to do the really hard, slow work. And I think, in the season as a whole, Bojack just wants to be okay. He wants to kind of snap his fingers to apologize once, and for years of bad behavior and years of being kind of a f***ed up guy to go under the rug. And I think when we learn that, spoiler alert, he didn't die, he's alive, he now knows he has to engage in the hard work of getting better.
Visually, it was so cool. Once a season, they always do like this kind of trippy episode, which is always great. And this episode specifically was like amazing visually. I loved when the black goo was chasing him down.
Oh my God.
Like he was running on the table and black goo's chasing after him.
And it's just like pure black nothingness.
Yeah.
Just like annihilating
this is crazy.
everything.
It's just like visually like very good and like very interesting and like a departure from the rest of the series.
Yeah. And to me, that kind of relates to something I think we talked about before a little bit as well, of this overarching question of the show. Are some people just good and are some people just bad? And are some people just brilliant? But are people good or are people bad? And I think the show gets at the idea that they're neither, that we are shaped via what we do. This is something I'm going to put on my nerd hat for 2 more seconds. People like Aristotle and David Hume have always posited this idea that morally, we kind of just are a collection of habits. And if we do good stuff, we become good people with good character. If we do bad stuff, we become bad people. It's not like, a really evil person is just born evil, and a really great person is just born great. And I think we see that in this show, that Bojack is someone who learns that lesson, that if he wants to become better, he has to do the work to become better.
And he was bad. He did these terrible things, but he's still like the main character, and you still kind of want him to be okay, even though like he maybe killed his former co-star and like damaged all these people. I still found myself wanting him to like not die in that episode.
Yeah. And I think this show's been compared to Mad Men and Breaking Bad in terms of having, the anti-hero as its protagonist. I think this show did a better job than either Mad Men or Breaking Bad at creating a character who's on the surface level a bad guy, but that we still sympathize with, that we still want something good for, because we learn so much about his backstory, and we see so much of the pain that lies behind all of this stuff, that we can both sympathize and want what's best for this character while still wanting him to reckon with the consequences of his actions.
Yeah, you do kind of want him to have a downfall, but then also you always see that like he doesn't like himself either.
Yeah.
It's not like he did that to Sarah Lynn or he did that to Hollyhock and then he's like, you, he's always like, oh, what am I doing? I don't know. Prison, blah, blah, blah.
He knows he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He gets at it, and I think we see him spiral in that way because of that awareness. And then when we see him do good things, we see him slowly build back up. It is sad, and maybe he'll get back there one day, although he does it in prison. When he does go and become a theater teacher at that college, I think we do see this thing that by doing small good things for people, that's good, and it makes him feel good, and he sees that. And I do think it is kind of poignant that in prison, he's still able to do that.
Yeah, that felt nice that like he continued teaching acting even though he was in prison.
Schlesinger, if you have time to fashion a shiv and organize a jump on the rats in Block C, you have time to learn your lines, okay? Priorities.
Okay, Sean, we've been through a lot. We've talked about what's good, what's bad, and what's brilliant. We've done the lightning round.
Yes.
The last thing we need to do is take all of the intricate words we've used, all the wonderful ideas we've explored, and throw them out the window and reduce this entire show down to a 5-point numeric system.
Wow.
But what we do here is we need to figure out what our arbiter of value is going to be. So we have to figure out what we're going to have 5 units of. Okay. So we need to think of stuff from the show. So it could be like 5 bottles of booze or pills, but that's a little dark.
A little dark.
What do you think?
It could be 5 Hollywood D's.
5 Hollywood D's, that's good.
Or 5 Hollywood B's.
Hollywood B's. 5 Chicago-style baked potatoes that you would get at a humans game.
5 unread letters to Bojack, or unseen, I guess. Bojack read it.
Yeah, 5 prison productions of plays. But you know what I like that you said? What? I like the Hollywood D's. Good. It's this thing that loomed over the whole series.
Yeah.
We never really get it. So let's use our D system. So 1D is just garbage. This is like horsing around with all the Bojack cut out of it. 5 is just like it's full secretariat. Just awesome work, okay? So I'm going to put the onus on you. You have to go first.
Is this the whole show or this season?
We'll do this season.
Okay.
But we can, like, consider it in the back of your mind a little bit, because you can't forget it. But,
Okay.
So, final season of Bojack Horseman, 1 to 5 Hollywood Ds. What does it get, Sean Godsey?
I think that Bojack Horseman gets 4.5 Hollywood Ds.
4.5 Ds.
Yeah.
And because I'm not capable of original thought, I'm also going to give it 4.5 Hollywood Ds. I think it was so good. I think there were some low moments.
Yes, Todd's mom.
Todd's mom, the finale, a few things, but definitely 4.5.
Overall, it was great. I liked it a lot.
It's great. I highly recommend it. If people haven't watched it, I don't know why they would still be watching this if they haven't watched it.
Yeah, subscribe to Netflix.
Yeah, or get a password from someone, or go on the dark web and buy passwords. You can do this.
Or go online and you can watch illegal streams.
Oh,
or
yeah,
don't do that. I don't know if I can say that.
Oh, and watch the illegal streams while you're committing crimes in real life.
Yeah.
So you can watch it on the mobile device while you're doing crime.
While you're robbing
a
bank.
Don't do drugs, but do crime.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Sean, it has been great to have you here. If people want to find you, not in life, on social media.
I can give my address and phone number.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want to have, no.
Yeah.
Where could they find you on social media?
Find me at @ScannedLife on Instagram.
Nice. And if I'm not mistaken, they could see some of your animation there, right?
That's right. You can see some of my animation. You can message me. I'll let you know my address and phone number.
Well, guys, that has been the good, the bad, and the brilliant on the last season of Bojack Horseman. Thank you so much for sticking around. Please let us know what you think in the comments, and let us know about any properties that you'd love to see us cover on the show in the future. For Sean, I'm Michael. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Later.